Facebook, YouTube, wherever you happen to catch today's conversation. I am super, super pumped to open up August with Cynthia Barnes. Now, I've been following this lady boss on LinkedIn, saw that we were both top voices, so I reached out and I just have to tell you, even in my short time being on the call before this, I just love her energy. I could tell that she is that authentic lady boss that I only believe in. And so today we're going to talk about sales, not just sales, but marketing and sales. And what does it mean in that process to actually be a human being and to own who you are? So I'm going to let her introduce herself wherever you are listening or watching from, whether you're on replay or live with us. Please say hello, give us a what's up, write in the comments. Share your questions, whether we get to them on the interview or come back, no worries. Please, please, please be active with us and make sure that you give us lots of thumbs up and hearts throughout the process. All right, Cynthia, welcome today to my monthly LinkedIn Live. I'd love for you to introduce yourself, give us a little bit of a background around how you became Miss Thang on LinkedIn and Top Voice.
Well, first of all, let's be clear. It is Miss Thang and Everything. So let's start off on the right foot. I'm Cynthia Barnes, LinkedIn Top Voice, founder of the National Association of Women Sales Professionals. You may have seen me as the first Black speaker to keynote a national sales conference back in 2022. Yes, it took until 2022 to have a Black female speaker lead a national conference in sales. I breathe sales. I eat sales. I love sales. Sales is who I am. I am the queen of sales. And I recently did a TEDx talk on humility and why humility and modesty are bad for women. So you should check it out. It's on YouTube. Other than that, I'm just your average woman who catches sharks on a random day in Charleston, South Carolina, and I bake the world's best pound cake. How you doing?
You can see why she's a TEDx speaker, right? Okay, so let's just start at that TEDx that you did. Humility and modesty are the no-goes.
Right. Yeah. Humility is not a word. So if you think about this, when we were kids, girls and boys were given different playbooks on growing up. Girls were told to be timid and hold their successes close to the vest. We were told, don't brag. Boys, on the other hand, were told to be bold, courageous, and brave. So when we grow up and go into the work environment and a boss gives us a compliment, we say things like, oh, it was nothing. It was a team effort. I don't deserve the praise. It was my colleagues. Boys, on the other hand, men say, thanks. So then that leads our boss to say, wow, Tom deserves a promotion, while Sally, I don't know if she's ready for that promotion because she can't even take a compliment. I recently ran a study, not an official study. I just went around the mall and I paid women compliments. Things like, your shoes are really nice. Your nails, they're Instagram worthy. Your hair is laid. You would think I was handing out lottery tickets. But anyway, women deflected compliments like it was dodgeball. And I learned something very powerful. As women, we deflect compliments, we downplay them like second nature. And the reason is over time, we have learned to accept compliments and to be bold, to be brave, to be ambitious. Like Malala Yousafzai, Joan of Arc, those women were beaten, burned, and stoned. And we've learned that to be brave is to be in danger. And those lingering sentiments still exist. So being humble and being modest, I don't want us to do that anymore. I want us to to speak up. So in Uganda, East Africa, women accept compliments not by downplaying them, not by ditching them, not by brushing them off. They respond with a simple thank you. It's true.
Mm.
So that's how I want your listeners to accept compliments by saying thank you. It's true.
Thank you. It's true. Why
Yes.
is that so difficult? You're so right. And I want, so we could have a whole conversation around that as women and like go deep, deep, deep.
Yes.
I'm really curious around the effects of that as a businesswoman and being in, let's say, sales.
Yes.
Where, how does that affect you? And then how do you get past that?
Yes. So let's talk about the intersectionality of accepting a compliment, the difference between that and owning a compliment, the confidence factor, and sales and effectiveness. How many times have you actually bought from an insecure, ineffective salesperson? Not never, right?
Yeah.
We trust sales professionals to be confident, have high levels of self esteem. Even if they aren't, they portray that they have confidence in their product or service and that it's going to satisfy our deepest challenges. If women or men cannot accept a compliment, if they cannot own their awesome by saying thank you to a simple compliment, it translates into lower self esteem, lower levels of self confidence, and it spills into their daily activities and comes across as low self concept. There's a difference between low self esteem and low self concept. However, when you start to talk about the low self esteem, the low self confidence, and spilling into that low self concept, it all starts to mirror together and affect your performance. I'm not a psychologist, but I have played one on TV. I'm just kidding. But when you study the correlation and the intersectionality of self confidence, self competence, self concept, and self esteem, you'll find that there are threads that intertwine.
So you've been a pretty successful saleswoman. How did you get past that to actually deliver results?
Anytime I thought that I did not have what it took to sell effectively, I went and learned my craft. I either examined where is the gap? Do I not know my product or service as well as I could? Do I not know my prospects as well as I should? Where's the gap? And whatever the gap was, I filled it. Do I need to bone up on prospecting? Do I need to figure out how to close better? Do I need to brush up on my negotiation skills? There's a direct correlation between competence and confidence. And when you raise your competence, you raise your confidence, and that naturally raises your self concept.
Okay, so I tell me what you think about this. Excuse me. I think that a lot of men, and I don't love to do the men woman thing, but I know that's a passion point for you and me. I feel like we have to learn and do a lot more, not only to get the positions that we want, but to have that confidence. I feel like I have to know 100,000% more than my peers, which is why I got a master's, right? And
Mhm.
why I interviewed like crazy and why I do more work and all these things to get still not the same results
Mhm.
as potentially my male peers. So at what point is It's just you know enough, right? There's something else happening here.
Yes, it's not right. It's not fair. It is what it is. We are not going to change society. It's too big. I tried. I tried changing perceptions of people. The fact of the matter is, I can change me. That's it. The reality, as harsh as it is, I can only affect how I show up. I can't change him. I can't change her. I can't change you, but I can change me. There's an old saying, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. I can waste a lot of time trying to convince you of something that you don't want to be convinced of. I've spent years trying to convince companies that hiring women in sales is a good idea. Diversifying your sales team is a great idea. Here's the empirical data from people who are a lot smarter than me, a lot smarter than you, showing that women sell 11% better than their male counterparts. They still don't want to diversify their teams. It dawned on me that in 2024, if a sales team is homogeneous, it's by design. I can't do anything about that. So I take my energies toward places where it's celebrated, not tolerated. So, back to your point, if the system where you are is not one that welcomes your differences, change where you are. You can either change your surroundings or change your surroundings.
Let me tell you, we're not just talking about sales, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yes. I, we can go super deep onto this topic. What I know for my audience too is kind of some of the tactical takeaways and pieces that we can really think about. Okay, especially for my audience, we have a lot of marketers, we have founders, right? And when you're a business owner or entrepreneur, whether I didn't ever consider myself a sales person, Cynthia, marketing, brand marketing, lady boss, and still, but if you own your own business or you're trying to get speaking gigs or whatever, you're selling yourself, right?
Right.
So, and I have a lot to learn when it comes to selling, but I always say, I'm just really trying to connect with people, right? We're
Mhm.
trying to understand humans and connect with them at an emotional level. And in doing that, we can build a relationship, and that relationship will create opportunities. So I'm
Yes.
curious, Cynthia, if I'm a woman listening today or a man, and I really need, I'm not closing those deals. I'm getting some pressure from my boss. What are some things that we can hone in on, methods that you use, tactics to get to that close ratio that you said 11, they close 11% or have 11%. Yeah. I want to know, like, what's the juiciness in that?
Okay. So here's the deal. You've heard that it's all about the relationship, right?
Yeah.
It's true. It really is. So back in the day, before we had all of this technology and made sales very transactional,
Yeah.
sales was relational. There is a form that through the years has transformed, but essentially it is a list of what I use 72 things that you should know about your buyer before your competition does. Things like, were they in the military? If so, what branch? Do they drink alcohol with their dinner? All of those little nuances that you wouldn't really think matter, but they do. So think about it this way. As you are having a discovery call to qualify them to find out whether or not they are a good fit for your product or service, you're going to end that discovery call with 3 distinct questions. Number 1, do you, Mr. or Miss Buyer, feel that I fully understand you and your role at XYZ company? Number 2, do you feel that I fully understand your company's challenges? Number 3, would you like my help?
Mm.
You can't ask those questions if you don't ask questions about their role, their challenges, and their company's challenges. You can't ask those questions if you don't ask about them. Sales is nothing more than influencing decision makers, whether it's my 5-year-old niece who wants to go rock climbing or the president of PepsiCo. It's influencing decision makers to say yes. That's all it is. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's true. So ask tons of questions to show that you care about them, to show that you genuinely want to help them solve their problems. Develop a relationship in a world that is so super transactional, and you win. Simple, but it's not
So,
easy.
so simple. And it's not easy. It's not easy because we're getting the spam messages all
Mhm.
day, every day. We're getting still the cold calls, right? You're still getting people that get on a call with you and they start selling you right away versus asking anything about you. So, like, we ain't there, Cynthia, at
No,
all.
no,
So there is, relational sales actually takes quite a bit of understanding of people
it does.
and communication, which you're
Mhm.
actually saying, just listen, ask questions and listen.
Yes.
You, which is great dating advice too, by the way, and great with your kids or whatever, your husband, wife, partner.
How can it be bad?
Yeah.
How can it be bad? I say we go back to the basics.
Mm.
Grab a pen, write a note, put it in the mail. You will get more attention that way than constantly pitch slapping me on LinkedIn. Trust me.
It is true. It
Yeah.
is very true. Yeah, no, direct mail is actually making it's
It's making a
let me
comeback.
it's making a comeback because of remote work. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's it's a real thing.
it's a real thing.
Um, it's real. Yeah, I mean, okay, so good. Now tell me about this. What do you do? Because I feel this, and I know people that I talk to. You have these amazing conversations. You did everything that you just did. I listened. I asked my 3 questions at the end. Yes, I want help from you. Did all of that. You share the information. They say, I'm ready to go. And then they go crickets on you. Or they're like, you know what? I don't have the budget. Or whatever, those reasons.
Mhm.
Then what do you do?
Well, you should have found out what their budget was before you should have qualified them before you went into all of those things. If they don't have the budget and they truly don't have the budget, that's on you. Because
Mm.
remember, you're qualifying them to determine whether or not they are worth your time. We don't want to spend time with people who can't afford us, don't have the urgency, and don't have the need,
Mm.
right?
Oh, yes.
Your doctor's office doesn't take you unless you have the money to pay cash or you have insurance.
True.
And you don't get seen and billed. No, you pay cash up front. Come on now. You are a professional. Your doctor is a professional. So we're not going to have free coaching calls and then try to sell you on a coaching package. No, no, no. This is not free 99. Uh-uh. No, no, no. We are professionals. So
Mhm.
part of that discovery call is to find out, what type of budget have you set aside for this service? Oh, well,
Yeah.
we don't know. Ballpark. We don't know what kind of budget. Okay, cool. If they haven't thought about the type of budget that they have for this project, they're not serious.
Yeah.
Spend your time with people who have the urgency, who have the budget, and who have the need. They are fishing. You want to deal with people who are hurting now, who have thought about how much money they have to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep it
This is
moving.
a really interesting kind of bridge to what we were talking about prior to getting on of marketing and sales, right?
Yeah.
Because marketing has the opportunity, especially with the data and retooling, to get an understanding how qualified somebody is before they talk to us, right,
Mhm.
Cynthia? So I'm
Yes.
curious, with your experience of people you're working with, how are marketing and sales working together well? Maybe even examples where you've seen that or for yourself. And where is there an opportunity for marketers to do a better job with their sellers?
Oh, marketing and sales do not work well together. Oh, man. They think they do. They have no clue. First of all, they won't even get in the room together. They won't even talk to each other and say, this is the language I speak and this is the language I speak. That would be the first step. And maybe I'm biased. I would love to sit down and say, we're going to take your Japanese over here and we're going to take your Greek and we're just going to have you talk together. That would be the first step. On the rare occasion, though, that they do work well together, it's because one has been cross trained in the other. So I believe that to effectively have a team or two teams that work well together, they have got to be cross trained.
Mm,
McDonald's does a great job of this. The people running the grill are better equipped to understand the drive-through's needs when they work the drive-through. They can understand what it's like to have a line wrapped around the building and the pressure of having people looking you in the mirror like this or look in the window like this, like, where's my food?
right.
And they understand why people are yelling and saying, where's my quarter pounder with cheese? That empathy. And so they work a little harder and vice versa. So marketing understands the needs of the sales team and vice versa. So they can now have that sense of empathy when leads come in through the funnel that are not qualified. So that's the first step, is to cross train.
Yep.
Yeah. Second step would be to make sure the goals are not based upon KPIs, but based upon OKRs, objectives and key results. And those objectives and key results must be public, transparent, I mean, within the company, so that everyone can see them. KPIs are just data. OKRs, those objectives, are things that we're working toward in 90-day sprints together. Much more effective.
Mm.
Much more effective. Much
Any
more.
other? Okay, so OKRs, definitely, we had a lot of that at Gartner. I
Yep.
was from the top all the way down, which was
Mhm.
so helpful
So helpful.
and so difficult. Like, it was it can be a really annoying process, especially at big organizations,
Mhm.
to trickle that down. But you're right.
Well, you
That
have
means
to.
when you're sitting with the sales team, it's like, well, we're a part of the same team, and here's what we have to do and
Mhm.
accomplish.
Yes. And
Let's do
every
it.
team should have their own OKRs, and every person should have their own OKRs based upon the teams, which is based
Right.
upon the department, which is I mean,
Yeah,
it works if you work it.
correct.
Yes, it works if you work it. It works if you work it. The last thing I would say is about social media. You know, I love LinkedIn. There are too many sales professionals who do not optimize LinkedIn well. They're posting things that the marketing department puts out, and the marketing department does not use LinkedIn well. So, if the marketing department doesn't use LinkedIn well, and the sales team is just pushing out whatever the marketing department put, like forward and just add, no wonder it's jacked up.
Yeah.
Well, what if the sales professionals adopted a mindset of, I'm going to create a brand for myself. I want to become a subject matter expert in XYZ, not just this product, but the industry. When they become a subject matter expert, their company automatically gets the attention, but so did they. So it's a win-win situation. And I think that's where a lot of companies go wrong. They try to micromanage their sales team's LinkedIn presence. Newsflash, your salesperson's LinkedIn is their own. You have no right to tell them what to post and what not to post. Freedom of speech. You can't tell them anything. You can't. You can't. But I think a lot of salespeople need to establish their own brand.
Oh, Cynthia, that is a big piece of what we do at Stand Out Authority. Yeah. Social selling, activating your voice, and then how do you connect your story with the companies? When you connect both of them, then it actually can feel really authentic to you, help the company, help you, win-win situation. And
Yes.
one thing I'd add about the LinkedIn profile, yes, you own it. But when you work for somebody else, there are guidelines. And
Okay.
you will always, and every company should have social media guidelines. They usually do, but they're buried somewhere or they don't exist.
Yes.
They don't exist or they're buried. And so what people do, instead of just being aware of what are the guardrails for this company, they just decide, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to do it. I'm not. Well,
Right.
instead, you know what you can and can't say. Ask,
Right.
and go for it,
Right.
right?
Imagine if Dwayne Johnson took that approach. He went from being a pro wrestler to an actor to selling
Business.
vodka. Now he's on the stock market. Who knows what he's doing? He's always Dwayne Johnson, though. Always Dwayne Johnson. Kevin Hart, same thing. Comedian one day, selling DraftKings the next. He's always Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Promote you and whoever's paying the highest dollar.
Cynthia, that was such a perfect way to round out the conversation. Really thinking about, there's so much goodness here of just how do we, not humility and all these modesty to marketing and sales. You have such a wealth of knowledge, Cynthia. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I'd love for you to just last thought / how do you, yes, connect with you on LinkedIn? How can people keep up with you or potentially reach out to you for anything?
LinkedIn is the best way. My website is Cynthia-Barnes, Cynthia-Barnes.com. LinkedIn is the best way to interact with me, follow me. If you connect with me, please let me know that you heard me on this podcast. I love connecting with great folks, so please do. If I had one final thought to leave with your audience, I would implore them. Nobody ever reaches the pinnacle of success by downplaying their awesomeness. So, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, own your awesome. Because when you have the courage to own your awesome, you give others the permission to own their awesome too.
Thank you so much. That is perfect. Thank you for watching today or listening, however you watch today. We really appreciate your time. Leave us comments, ask some questions, reach out to Cynthia, and please, please, please come back next month. Watch my other LinkedIn lives, wherever you're watching this. Have